Hey everybody, my name is Helen. I go by Helen of Joy on Instagram and TikTok. Welcome to my YouTube channel. So today I wanted to talk some Disney stuff because I haven't done Disney stuff on my page yet. I'm super excited about that. And of course, representing my girl Ariel, wearing my new Ariel shirt. Whoop whoop. So I wanted to discuss The Little Mermaid and diversity in Disney. Obviously, it's been quite the hot topics ever since they made the announcement that Halle Bailey would be playing Little Mermaid. When I tell you I wake up daily to racist comments, anger, people insulting me, people insulting what I look like, all just because I say I am very excited to see Ariel played by a Black woman. I digress that Halle Bailey auditioned just like everybody else. The casting director and the director themselves said no one played Ariel or gave them the feeling of Ariel as much as she did. Not only does she have the musical talent, the voice talent, she's also a really good actress. And you know what? It's time for a change. It's time for some diversity. It's time, y'all. It is time. What's so frustrating about this for me is that, and for a lot of people too, I think I'm speaking for, other people as well. There has been a huge lack of diversity in media alone, let alone just Disney. People are spiteful and say things like, well, we are going to take Tiana away. How would you feel if Tiana was played by a white woman? How would you feel if Pocahontas was played by a white woman? How would you feel if Mulan was played by a white woman? Let me stop you there. Well, no. Unless you're just completely ignorant, and then by all means, this will educate you then. They're all based on real people. Pocahontas, not her real name, by the way, based on a real woman. Child. Tiana, based on Leah Chase, a famous activist from New Orleans who owned a restaurant and opened her restaurant so she could sit people of color, that were doing activism. They were able to do their meetings there. She is a huge, huge historical person in New Orleans, especially where Princess and the Frog is set. Tiana's story is literally based on the fact that she's struggling as a Black woman to be taken seriously in business. It's even mentioned as part of the script that a woman of her background, which is them alluding to the fact that she's a Black woman. And the whole story is based around her living in New Orleans back in, like the 20s or 30s. I don't understand how that could be played by a woman. Like, please explain to me. If you can explain that. It's just being said out of spite. I can speak as a mixed race woman. I may be half white, but I'm a woman of color at the end of the day. Mixed people, especially if they're like darker skinned, I'm not dark skinned by any means, of course. Not only is it hard for us to feel included, but there was no representation when I was growing up. And by all means, as a child, like, I loved Ariel, I loved Sleeping Beauty, I loved Cinderella, loved Snow White. And I didn't realize how much that affected me. And I'm just speaking for myself here, obviously, because of course, like, Black children have it even worse. Not having that kind of diversity in media growing up really makes you doubt yourself. Makes you doubt what you look like. It makes you question yourself. It used to make me always think, like, why don't I look like her? Why does my hair not look like her? Why am I not as pretty as her? Like, I had a family friend growing up that was so beautiful, like typical, like Disney princess, like look, right? And I would find myself subconsciously comparing myself to her because she was what the standard was. That was like back in the days of like Pamela Anderson was really popular then. It was like the blonde supermodels. Like supermodels always had that look. There was maybe like a couple of women of color that were supermodels back then, which was like Naomi Campbell, Tyra Banks, like that's pretty much it. Let alone like in Disney, like you don't realize how much you need that until it's right in front of you. Prime example of that was when they did the live action version of Beauty and the Beast with her. When I tell you, I literally burst into tears when she first walked in. Like, and I couldn't even help it. Like it literally just went bleh out of me. I didn't realize how much I needed that, how much I needed to see me in a character like Belle, how I need to see me in a character like Ariel. That day that trailer dropped of The Little Mermaid, like the world literally stopped for so many people. I love that if I have a daughter one day, or a son even, I can show them that and they have someone to be like, oh my God, like I can be a mermaid too. Because at the end of the day, you guys, like, you can argue all you want that Ariel's like, gotta stay redhead and gotta stay white redhead, and she was supposed to be white in the story. She was not supposed to be white in the story. The original story of The Little Mermaid was written by Hans Christian Andersen. We all know that. It was actually written as an ode to his hidden homosexuality. He was actually bisexual, rumored to be bisexual. And he was having an affair with a married man. The story of The Little Mermaid is supposed to represent him and his forbidden love with this married person, someone he could not be with. That was usually the theme of his books, was like forbidden love, like passion, like couldn't be, then you know, like quite horrific endings. If you are really that adamant about The Little Mermaid being that on point, the original story is terrifying. The original story, she doesn't get Eric in the end, or the prince in the end. She kills him and his wife, and then kills herself. I'm sorry, don't know if I should say that, but unalives herself, and then ends up like becoming the white foam in the ocean. Like, that's not the Disney version. And the Disney version only picked her to be a redhead because they already had so many blonde princesses. So they're like, we got to switch it up. When people argue like, oh, well, I'm a redhead, I need that diversity, like you're taking away from redheads. Like, no. Anna, Merida, Anastasia, there's so many redhead, Jessica Rabbit even. There's so many beautiful redheaded characters that are so iconic, so special. And they're probably not going to change any of them. They're not changing the original Ariel either. The live action isn't taking away from the cartoon, right? It's always going to be there. I think it's time you took a step back, because like, imagine that was your child. Imagine, because like at the end of the day, the people that originally watched The Little Mermaid, like, y'all are grown. I'm grown. This is for the kids at this point. This is so the kids can have something special, something so unique that they can look up to and be like, yeah, like when I grew up, there was a black Little Mermaid. Like, I know I'm going to sob when I go see The Little Mermaid. It's like, sob, you guys. Like, it's going to be so special and so amazing for me. So many other people. Just let people have this moment. You know what I mean? And it's just, y'all are not original for your Tiana comments. You're not original for your spiteful comments. Like, oh, well, how would you feel if we made Martin Luther King white? How would you feel if we made Muhammad Ali white? Like, y'all, they are historical black people. Like, y'all get that, right? I feel like I talk about this a lot in my TikTok and my social media, and it's because it's just like, I feel like I have to keep explaining myself when I really don't. Like, we're allowed to have mermaids too. We're also allowed to have princesses too. And if you can't share, then that proves there has been an issue with Hollywood and media and the way we've been programmed. Because you seem to think that like, we're taking away from you if we finally get something for ourselves. And that's not fair to us. And it's also not fair to you either. It's almost like we've been brainwashed to think this is the only standard and this is the only thing that's right. And unless it's that way, everyone has to freak out, right? That being said, I am so excited about The Little Mermaid. I am so excited to see this rendition. I'm so excited to see Halle Bailey do this rendition. She is so beautiful and talented, and her voice is so special. It's going to be such a special moment for us. I think this is going to be one of the better live actions of the Disney Renaissance. Like I said, are you excited to see it? Let me know in the comments. Let me know if you'd like to see more stuff like this, if you'd like to see more content like this. Of course, love to talk about Little Mermaid, love to talk Disney. I'm also going to do a separate video on Tiana and why she should be getting her flowers as a Disney princess, so that's a whole other video. If you don't already, follow me on TikTok, follow me on Instagram, I'll have them listed below. Let me know your thoughts. Thank you so much, guys.